Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Frontrunners Innovate. And the wonderfully beautiful and illuminated face that you see in front of you is our new friend Shilpa. And Shilpa is in India, and she is the chairperson and managing director for SheRocks India. And if that already gets your attention, then know that you're in for a delightful conversation to determine a little bit more about what SheRocks is and who Shilpa is and how learning more about her may be able to make a difference in your business life and your personal development life as well. And I'm excited because we've been planning this for a little while. And we finally have gotten to the day that we can do this. I want to tell you just a little bit. National Secretary of Government Affairs for All India Council of Human Rights, Liberties, and Social Justice. That is just one of the titles that she holds. So this young lady has a background in working in spaces that are moving, let's say, the quality of life and the quality of business forward in her area of the world. So I'm going to have her tell us a little bit more about herself, and then we'll dive into exactly what she's doing with SheRocks. So Shilpa, welcome, and thank you for
being here. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for such a wonderful intro of yours. It's lovely meeting you, and I'm really grateful. I really feel privileged to be invited at your platform. I've seen frontrunners have covered a lot of personalities, a lot of people who are working in different domains, in different industries. Too much of exposure is there. So I can relate to those people. I can relate to what brilliant work that you have been doing. So, if we talk about me, I think before we get into this world of making money and doing business, I would start my journey from the studies or the experiences that I've done in my life. So, I was a student of environment. So, I was an environment science student, and then I started my career as an environment scientist with WHO. So, when we talk about environment science, it's a very interesting subject. Environment science focuses on three main goals. One is how your natural world works. Second is how we human beings interact with the natural world. And third is to find ways to deal with the environmental problems so that we can live amicably and sustainability into the environment. Now, that study core area was got related to my NGO with which I'm associated, which is an Environment and Consumer Protection Foundation, wherein we not only plant trees, we talk about zero carbon emissions, we talk about environment sustainability, we make sure to work on the 7 sustainability development goals, we work on the green hydrogen project. So that's how my environment science studies got related to an NGO for which I work as a community in my independent capacity. Also, I related them with some of the projects which were working in the green hydrogen energy. Additional to that, I'm specialized in mental health education. So mental health, when we talk about it, is a very important aspect because it includes your psychological, your social, and your emotional well-being. And these are very important aspects of your life because it will help you how you think, how you act, and how you feel. Without this, you cannot work in your personal life, you cannot work in your professional life. So if your mental health is manageable, it will help you to take decisions wisely, it will help you to choose people wisely, it will help you to manage your stress situations wisely. So mental health also plays a very important role. So because of that exposure in specialization in mental health, I worked with a few of the youth population in colleges and universities, wherein they come to me and they interact with me one on one, how to manage the stress related problems in their life that they're facing. Moving forward, I worked as an educationalist also. So I am specialized in the theories of methods of teaching. My specialized subjects were biology and chemistry. And at the end, I would say I have a practical and theoretical knowledge on ITIL. ITIL is Information Technology Infrastructure Library. It's basically a framework which is designed to manage the overall cycle of IT businesses within a framework. How to design a project, how to monitor a project, how to evaluate a project, how to execute a project. And once the project is delivered, the last most important thing is to do a project debriefing, wherein people discuss what went wrong, what went right, so that you can apply it to the next project level. So this entire is the life cycle of how a project management works in the information technology. So this was my education background, which somehow I never planned my life, because if we talk about spiritual journey, I'm a spiritual person. I would not say a religious one. It's a hell lot of difference between being spiritual and being religious. So, like religious people, they go to a places of worship and they pray to a power or a divine soul or an energy. But a person who is spiritual believes whatever is offered to them on the table, it is brought to you by the divine energy. And later, when you try to connect the dots, you will be able to understand why they were falling into your way. So that's how during pandemic, I started my own firm, which is SheRocks India. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's hear about SheRocks. Tell us a little bit about the I would say the mission and the focus of, because I was looking at, there's all kinds of enterprise value that goes into SheRocks. And I guess an accelerator would be one word to use, but I feel like you're kind of more than that. So share with us, the premise and the foundation for SheRocks.
Yes. So during pandemic in 2020, I started my own venture, which is SheRocks India. So primarily the focus of SheRocks India is based on the idea of India, which is innovation, make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. So initially I started working with innovators, people who were working on ideas, building ideas and creating a product out of it. So my first innovation product that I worked was a company which was based in Ukraine. So that very very interesting people. It was an asset and an organization and a network of vibrant people. They were working on designing a hemostatic agent. Now, when we talk about this agent is designed to stop the clotting of blood during the battle time situation. So it was practically used by the armed forces of Ukraine also. And it was a wonderful project wherein I think from the rough stage to the final execution place, I worked with the team. So that's how the innovation came into place. And then we worked with multiple people who were working into the innovation field and supported them in whatever way we can. Parallelly to that, my interest got raised when drone came into the picture. So drone technology is something which I think now everybody is aware about what drones are. So initially we started investing in the startups which were working into the drone technology. And then we started facilitating the businesses into different domains like space technology or your drone technology or your disaster management or your electric vehicles. Different projects are there, different technologies were coming into the ground. So let's talk about drone technology. Originally, drones were designed for military use by the military people for executing the military operations, which were definitely very dangerous to that. So people were restricted to the usage and manufacturing of drones for military purpose only. But with times ahead, people started doing a research and development on the drone technology. Now, when you look at drone technology, it is vast, it is huge. So there are n number of clients for you. There are n numbers of fields wherein you can explore your drone technology. So when we talk about drones, you can use your drones in the agricultural mapping. You can use your drones for pesticides and insecticides, and you can use them for chemical sprays. You can use your drones for environmental monitoring, wildlife monitoring. It can be used in the entertainment industries for Yes, yeah, it can be used for filmmaking. Drones can also be used in the search and rescue operations during a natural calamity or disaster situations. Drones are now government is using for infrastructure mapping because it's a vast area that will help the government to do an infrastructure mapping. So there are various fields various domains in which you can actually pay attention, and you can divert your technology and manufacture drones and provide services to different customers. So that's how in India, initially, very few companies were into the drone technology. It was just like in numbers, 5 or 10. And I think currently these are more than 500 companies which are working on drone technologies. So this is how my interest started, wherein I started working with initially startups, and now with the medium level companies also, wherein an investment of fund is required or an accessibility into the system is required, or maybe they want to understand the ecosystem of how government of India works if there is a transfer of technology is coming. So because drone technology was fresh to India and there were other companies in the other countries who were already working on that technology, that's how I started working on mapping the international projects for the TOT. So when we say TOT, it is transfer of technology. So there are companies which are working on some respective fresh technology which should be used in India. So you can transfer that technology into your country. You can do a JV with them. You can collaborate with them, and you can set up a manufacturing plant, and you can make your business, and you can supply it to government or the other retail market, whatever the product is. So that's how I started working on mapping the international projects for transfer of technology and getting into the bilateral discussions with the different stakeholders.
You know, I noticed where you have relationships now with, I think it said 75 plus embassies, and you do work with ministries. So government is a
Yes.
very key piece to what you're doing, which I think is very smart to create those relationships, because literally you're not going to get anything significant done anywhere without having
Yes.
those relationships with decision makers at that level. And we deal
Yes.
with that a lot with front runners, because we do a lot of large, you know, like sustainable village projects. That's what we aim to do in one of my partnerships. And so in so doing, you can't do anything without hitting that regulatory brick wall, if you will, of government, and understanding that you have to have that relationship there and you need their support and engagement. And I think that's just really smart of you to do that. And how great, and I'm just going to say this, everybody, she's a woman doing this. And it is, and in some countries, it's very difficult to be a woman making those strides, and especially in tech and innovation, where, you know, typically you're going to find more men sitting at a table than you would women, especially young women. So I applaud you for what you're doing there. So when you say that you invest in some of these technologies or in these spaces, how does SheRocks operate from that? Is it a group of people that have come together to put in some micro donations or something to do that? Or is it because you also are doing these management consulting level types of operations that bring in cash flow that allows you to invest? If you can share a little bit about how you operate, that would be great.
Yes, I would. So it depends, and it varies on project basis. If it is a startup company wherein the funding requirement is very small, so I can do that personally in my independent capacity. I attended one of the conference which was Millipol. It is a military police conference. It's a very elite conference wherein different companies which are working into the technology and providing services for which the targeted customers are military and police. They work on those respective technologies. So there are many startup companies wherein they were making some fresh technologies for which a bare minimum of, let's say, 15 lakhs to 40 lakhs funding that they are required. Plus, they are already backed up by few of the ministries from the government of India, or maybe a support system is required from internal government. So that's how I work personally with them. Sometimes there are projects wherein the funding is a major funding they are required, wherein we have some set of stakeholders, we have some business partners, wherein people are more interested to invest their funds into the different countries. So we do a crowdfunding. And in case if it is a big level project wherein a major big funding is required, wherein an involvement of government is required, there are a lot many subsidies, there are a lot many policies, new policy that government has introduced. So we assist them with those operations and those subsidies also, so that they can start their operations.
Wow. what you built there is a very unique model and interesting, I don't know, pathways. It's like you've carved pathways for some of these innovators that they would have never had without your help. That is fantastic. Talk to me a little bit about the waste piece that I saw in your profile about the focus on, you know, what I thought was interesting. It seems to be all different kinds of waste, but is it?
Oh, you're talking about that e-waste and military waste?
Yeah, e-waste. That's what I was. I saw that and I thought I want her to explain that a little bit. So
Okay.
tell us.
Okay. So before I get into that e-waste and military waste, I think we have not touched base the embassy and high commissions. So in 2015, Government of India launched Skill India. Skill India was specifically made to develop skills in the youth population so that they can get work in the other countries. So Government of India was working with embassies to send their people to work in the different countries. So they want to develop some skills. Now, when we talk about skill development, it can be a technical skill also. It can be a soft skill also. So we work with High Commission and embassies wherein we give trainings and workshops to people for developing skills. Now, because I personally work with many of the people over there, so I would say a technical skill is important to some extent. It will help you to get a job, to make money, to fill your pocket. But at the end, let's take an example of an interview wherein 50 candidates are there. All of them, they have skills, but still few people got selected. Why? What's the reason? What is that which they have, you don't have? An important soft skill. So a very important soft skill that anybody should have, and which is looks very easy but which is very difficult, is to get the work done. So no matter what the work is, people hire you not to give excuses, not to delay a deadline. People hire you that this is the job, this is the deadline, you need to get it done. How? Now that's what a soft skill brings on the table. So technical skills can always be learned and then, you can apply those, but getting the work done is the most important skill that is required. So on those skill development programs, we work with high commissions. Coming to this e-waste and military waste, we have not worked much deeper into it, but we have just started working on a rough stage. This is our upcoming projects wherein we are thinking to work on the electronic waste, any electronic items that we talk about. So office purpose, when we talk about your laptops, your MacBooks, these items are usually the electronic waste. After certain years of usage, there are companies who have a policy to discard them. So they discard it, you purchase it from them, and you resell it to the companies which are into the startup. Because startup companies or the MSME companies, they don't have funds, but still they want these electronic equipments to be in use. So it's like a recycle again an environment chain which is going on, a sustainability which we are doing. So we purchase those e-waste from the companies which have a compliance. After certain years of usage, they discard them at a market price, and those can be reused by the startup or the MSMEs for their further use. So that's an e-waste. Military waste is something which is a very, very huge market. It is very difficult to understand, but I'm still working with a few of the officers to understand this ecosystem, and then let's see if something we'll be able to work on this.
I think so. I don't know what it's like in India, but I know here in the United States, they have the military here has a mandate to go to e-vehicles, by a certain time frame. And so what are they doing? It's kind of like the e-waste you talked about. What are they going to do with the vehicles they do have now? Is somebody going to take them and try to convert them, or are they all going to a landfill somewhere? How's that going to work? But I do know that on military bases, because I live near one and I actually was the Chamber of Commerce exec right outside the main gate to the world's largest Marine Corps air station. You're going to have waste that is of a different nature that comes out of there. We also had aboard that base with a large private entity that, well, there were several large private entities, but they do work on, equipment like helicopters and the blades for helicopters and, different things like that. So you're going to have interesting types of waste whether it's electronic or something of that nature, or, just big pieces of metal that need to have something done with them, and all kinds of parts, because you're also dealing with a certain amount of privacy around,
That's true.
some of the parts that come off these airplanes and stuff.
So, as far as I know, it's like global policy that they follow before discarding the military waste to the open market, or the people who apply for the e-auction, they dismantle it and they destroy it completely. Then only they discard. That's how
discard. One thing that I would tell you too, as you were talking about the e-waste, is I have a sort of a partner that I've done this with a couple of times, is basically the computer repair shops. I went in one day about 2 years ago where I was getting something done to my laptop and noticed they had a stack of laptops sitting against the wall. And I asked him, I said, what are you doing with those? Well, those are in lineup for, us being fit, to fix them, but we've decided just not to do anything with them. I said, what are you going to do with them? And he said, well, we'll just get them cleaned off and discarded to, a landfill or something. I said, can I have them? And he said, yeah. And so I packed up about a dozen of them and sent them off to my partner, who has a team of people who refurbish those things. And they got them over to Malawi, to a refugee camp and a library there for use, for reuse there. And then a second round of them, I picked up 10 more and sent them to my business partner at the Sub-Saharan Open University, where they were rehabbing them. They wanted them broken. And so we sent them there was one of them that was just in pieces. Okay, let's just be honest. It was in pieces. They rehabbed them. That was part of their training. They trained these young men to rehab them, and so they were able to use them, and then that way they could start their own business of rehabbing dead computers, basically, and reselling them so that they could, continue their own sort of enterprise, set up an enterprise and continue it. So interesting what you can do with those sorts of things. But and the fact that this company was just saying, hey, yeah, just come get these things. They're just clogging up they were stacking them in the hallways. So note to self, if you've got anybody that's a computer repair shop there.
So that reminds me, when we were dealing with this e-waste, because I was working with the All India Council of Human Rights, Liberties and Social Justice. It's an NGO which is working brilliantly in different fields. So we opened few of the institutions in different states, wherein to the underprivileged sections of the society, we have started some basic computer courses, and we gave those discarded electronic items and these computers and laptops to these underprivileged sections of society. And you won't believe, there were 5 students who have learned coding out of that.
Okay,
now they're working, and yes.
There are a couple of organizations. There is a former, I want to say former military organization in the United States that does that, and it's led by a vet. And he's got a group of vets that, I don't know if they're disabled or what, but they come together, and this is what they do: is they purchase at very low cost on the market, the open market, these laptops that are, older, or there might need a little rehab work or whatever, and they rehab them and then they resell them. And some of the, I guess, profits goes back into the, the veterinary, the veterans organization. But so there are some organizations that will do that, as an enterprise. But I think it's very interesting, and I like the fact that they'll do that with cell phones too. Cell phones and the tablets and whatnot. So in Africa, which I do a lot of work in Africa, cell phones is what everybody lives off of anyway. I mean, they don't even bother with computers. That is their computer for the most part. So interesting stuff. So from the standpoint of, this is where you're at now, this is what you're doing, from the standpoint of what you're looking forward to do, because even though the pandemic is a couple of years old now, we've got crossed through it in theory, hopefully. So you're still kind of a young organization, so you must be growing at this point. So where are you headed in the next 6 months to a year with what you're doing? Is there anything new on the horizon?
Yes. So because when we talk about the future is artificial intelligence. So we have started working on ground with few of the people who are working into the deep core expertise of these technologies. Our upcoming work will be in digital forensic, cyber security, and artificial intelligence. These are the 3 core projects that on which we are working. So I work as a strategic advisor with few of the companies also. So these are the three important upcoming technologies on which you can say we are working. These technologies can be integrated also with the other technologies, and services can be provided.
Fantastic. So
Yeah.
then, as I told you when we started, I always ask as the last question, who do you need to meet to help you move this work forward?
I think the people who are looking to understand the ecosystem of Indian government, people who are working on fresh technologies, maybe startups. I think I would be more inclined to work with startups and MSME segment. Why? Because they have a fire to work on something new.
Yeah.
They don't come up with a with their own set of ideas. They are open to explore new working style. They are open to explore how the ecosystem works, how things are working in a business structure. So anybody who is into a startup, who is into the micro, small, medium enterprises, if they are looking for funds, if they are looking for the ecosystem, if they are looking for the strategic advisory from us, mental health, maybe that these people, they can approach us, they can collaborate us, we can do a JV with them, we can bring a transfer of technology to our country, and number of options that we can work on.
Shilpa, where are you headquartered?
Delhi.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't entirely sure. Okay. Yeah, I already have a
Yes.
couple of people I think will be
Yes.
useful contacts for you. But let me ask this. You're India-centric. Does that mean that the people that you work with are all from India, or do you have people from other areas of the world that you also work with?
No. So it depends on the project. Like as I said, I started with innovators. They were based in Ukraine. We are
Okay.
working with African countries. So very soon I'll be visiting to Uganda, Nigeria, maybe promisingly. So there are different countries with whom we are working. Sometimes we visit, sometimes we work offline and online
Okay.
both. So yeah, we are open for
Okay.
the different market.
Fantastic. This is great. I'm excited to talk to you a little bit further about this, and I hope that the information that we provided for everybody through this episode will get them curious enough to want to reach out as well. But I already have a sort of a mental plan to take this interview. So I want to say thank you to you. Stay with me for just a second, and I'll say a goodbye to everybody else. If you're seeing
Yes.
this on YouTube, you can go to frontrunnersinnovate.com and you'll get this interview. We will provide links via Shilpa. She'll share with us any links that she has that she'd like for you to visit, whether that be LinkedIn or if you have the website or social media, anything like that. And so you'll get that there. So definitely drop in. So I want to say thank you again and goodbye to everyone else. Stay with me, Shilpa. And until next time, happy front running. Bye-bye.